Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to Coffee with Craig. This is where we talk about all things firearms policy, culture, politics, you name it. We're talking about it right here, trying to bring to it what I like to call a little bit of uncommon sense, because as we all know, common sense just isn't that common. So please remember to like and share this program so that your friends can join in the conversation. Also, subscribe to our YouTube channel, right? So that you can get the alerts as soon as these things go live. Also, follow us on Facebook and click the little bell thingy so once again you can get the alerts. Once again, whenever we're going live and whenever we have a video coming up or a video premiering, you can get the notification. You also can subscribe to our podcast. That's right. Coffee with Craig, Morning Coffee with Craig, is now also a podcast, an audio podcast that you can download from Spotify, Google Podcasts, or even Apple Podcasts. If you want to know which ones are available, all you do is follow the link in the description of this video to anchor.fm, and it'll tell you all the services where this podcast is available and where you can subscribe. So check it out. That's right. We're trying to get on the whole technology thing. We're trying to get there. So, hopefully you'll go there with us. Also, wanted to remind you, fpcgear.com, fpcgear.com. It is the number one place to go purchase merchandise that shows that you support the Second Amendment, where you can strut your stuff showing that you are about the right to keep and bear arms and know that every penny that you spend will go right back into the fight. That's right. Like our current fight, code is freespeech.com, right? Let people know. Just let them know. Code is free speech. In particular, if that code has to do with 3D printing of firearms. That is still free speech, even though they don't want it to be. Which also tells us as they try to block our website. Also, we have our Can't Stop the Signal t-shirts to remind them, no, you cannot block the signal. You cannot stop the signal. We will get the word out. That's just our most recent fight. We've got a bunch of them out there. How do you find them? Go to fpcgear.com. Support the Second Amendment and look good doing it. Real simple, fpcgear.com. All right, let's get into today's topic. All right, now we all remember not too long ago, there was a shooting that took place in Parkland, Florida. It took place at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School. We know that an individual, a young man, a former student there, decided to take a couple of different firearms, including a fully semi-automatic rifle. Yeah, that's right. I know it's not a thing. I know it. You don't have to tell me. I know it's not a thing, but it's still fun to say. A fully semi-automatic rifle into the school and unfortunately killed a number of his fellow classmates and faculty and staff. Now, since then, they've put together a commission. The state of Florida has put together a commission in order to study exactly what happened there in Parkland. Now, the head of this commission, his name is Sheriff Bob, I'm going to say Bob Gualtieri, and he's kind of the guy who's the head of this particular commission that's doing a little bit of research in order to help us understand exactly what went on so that they can perhaps figure out what they need to do in order to make sure that, or at least try to prevent this from happening again. Now, one of the things that was noted that occurred during this particular issue was, this is one of the things I've said. Now, this is a reporter from the New York Times. One of the things that this reporter noted was, this is a statement, once again, from, we'll call him Sheriff Bob. Sheriff Bob said there were several times when he was in that school that the gun was empty, the sheriff said, noting that the rifle had a 6-round magazine. A reload break allowed a teacher on the 3rd floor of the freshman building to move students away to safety. Now, you guys are wondering, why is this such a big deal? Well, here's why. Well, first of all, if it was only a 6-round magazine, which, by the way, I believe it was probably a 5-round magazine with one in the chamber, but okay, let's just say for the sake of argument that this New York Times reporter who probably knows nothing about guns heard 6. So let's say they said 6. Why would they have us believe he used a high-powered, fully semi-automatic rifle with a high-capacity magazine. It must have had a high-capacity magazine, or as we would call a standard capacity magazine. But in this case, he only had 5 rounds. He only had 5 rounds per magazine. So the whole argument over this, we need to limit the size of magazines, really doesn't hold up here. It really doesn't hold up because in this particular case, he used 5-round magazines, and it did not stop him from being able to do whatever it was that he had set forth to do in this particular case. Now, there was something else that came out of this particular discussion, and this is another thing that I think we need to make sure to point out, because it goes against another fallacy that they would put out there, and that is this. It says here, if he had somebody in there with a gun, they could have mitigated this, the sheriff said. There were opportunities for staff to have intervened if they had been armed. That's right. Think about it now. So in other words, if there had been someone on campus, obviously other than the paid campus security who decided he was going to wait outside, but if there had been staff, if staff had the ability to conceal carry on campus and been there and been present, they could have intervened and saved lives, saved staff lives, saved student lives, while this individual was in the midst of reloading. Now, the thing that gets me the most about all of this, because we all know that these are the sorts of facts that we know support our argument. But what I find I don't want to say surprisingly, because it doesn't surprise me at all. But what I find sad is the fact that you're not hearing this anywhere in any of the mainstream media. Keep in mind, this is stuff that's been out since, a week. It's been out almost a week. CBS News isn't saying anything about it. NBC News, CNN. Where are all the people who want to ban guns, who want to ban high-capacity magazines? Where are they at? Why aren't they saying, well, gee, yeah, okay, well, here's the truth. At least, how about the unbiased media, which we know wants to ban standard capacity magazines? If they're the unbiased media, why aren't they pointing this out? Yeah, no, this doesn't fit. If the person put in charge of the investigation, of looking into it, if even he is saying, look, this guy had to reload, if there had been people there with firearms, if there had been people on campus with firearms, they could have taken this guy out before he could have killed more people. He had to reload multiple times. This goes back to the fact that, once again, by the way, the only people that you do hear from in regards to this are the students who know absolutely nothing about the right to keep and bear arms, who know nothing about firearms, who don't really care about the facts because, well, they have their moment in the sun. They have their moment in the spotlight. And they're being used by anti-gunners to push an agenda, and they don't even really know what exactly it is they're pushing or why they're pushing it. Because, well, if they did take the time to actually do some research, if they did take the time to find out exactly what happened, like this guy did, then maybe, just maybe, you might actually have some truth coming from these young folks, or from the media, or from the politicians. But no. We are going to seize on the Rahm Emanuel method of dealing with the crisis. Never, ever, ever let a good crisis go to waste. Anyway, folks, that's going to be it for today's Coffee with Craig. I thank you guys so much for tuning in. I thank you guys for joining FPC. By the way, let me remind you guys, join FPC. It's joinfpc.org. We are a membership organization. We lobby and we advocate. We fight for your rights. At the state level, at the local level, at the federal level, wherever we can. And the only reason we don't do more It's because we don't have more. We do what we can with the resources that we have. We don't have a Michael Bloomberg kicking cash down to us. We really don't. I wish we did, but we don't. We are simply, the lowly Firearms Policy Coalition. But I'll tell you this. We are small but mighty, and we do a lot and have done a lot. If you don't believe me, just Google us. Just Google us and click on news links, and you will find the Firearms Policy Coalition. We're doing a lot. We could do more with your help and your support. So that's joinfpc.org. Now, that is going to be it for today's Coffee with Craig. We thank you so much for tuning in. We thank you for being a part of the fight for our civil rights. Remember, got to use them or you're going to lose them. You guys take care.
If you like our videos, follow, subscribe, like, and share.